Hello everybody, and welcome to my humble and extremely poorly lit office. I wanted to do a quick video on my recent Carvana purchase. There are a lot of videos on YouTube on Carvana and purchasing from Carvana, but there are very few, if any, that I have found yet, videos on purchasing a vehicle in Massachusetts. Which is very different than purchasing a vehicle in other states of the country. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I decided to buy a new car, why I decided on Carvana versus a local dealer, the process in Massachusetts, and what I thought the overall experience was, at least in my case. So why did I decide to buy a new car? Well, quite simply, it was time. I'd had my Subaru for 6 years. It had over 100,000 miles on it. I had taken a new job where I was now working 36 miles each way from home. And I wanted something a little bit larger, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit newer technology for that long commute. In addition, I have 3 dogs. And while we all fit in the Subaru, 2 people and 3 dogs and gear if you're going away for the weekend or for a week trip is a lot in a Subaru Impreza. So I decided I wanted to get an SUV. So I did a lot of research, probably 2 months worth of research into what vehicle to buy. Watched, I can't tell you how many YouTube videos, hundreds of YouTube videos on SUVs and crossovers and pickup trucks and all sorts of different types of vehicles, station wagons, before I ultimately decided that the Volkswagen Tiguan, the new body style, the 2018 and up, was what I wanted. Initially, I was looking at buying a brand new vehicle, a 2021 model. However, when I started looking at the option packages of things that were important to me to have in a vehicle, things like leather seats because they're easier to vacuum out and keep clean if you've got dogs, things like XM satellite radio, things like heated seats, that sort of stuff that were important to me, and I decided that I really did want to have. Getting in a new vehicle meant that I had to get the SE or SEL trim level, and in a new vehicle that was just a bit more than I wanted to spend. So I started looking at low mileage used, 2018, 2019, 2020 used VW Tiguan's. In that search, I found that they were hard to come by. If I wanted an SE or an SEL trim level in a low mileage Tiguan, I set a 25,000 mile limit as to what I wanted for maximum miles on a used car. And they were hard to come by. And when you did find them, they were pretty close to sticker price, brand new. So I found an ad online when I was searching for Carvana, and I've seen them around, I've seen their trucks around, I've seen some ads for them before. Didn't really give them much thought, but I started looking at them, started doing a little research, and I found that the same vehicle, a 2018 Tiguan with less than 25,000 miles on it, in the trim level that I wanted, in the color that I wanted, was available. Not only available, they had multiple options to choose from. And it was, on average, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 less than the comparable model from a dealer, at least a local dealer. So, doing a little more research on Carvana, it seemed like they had a handle on what they were doing. There were some negative stories out there, but for the amount of vehicles they sell, the number of negative stories was a small percentage. This led me to strongly consider Carvana. So before I decided on going with Carvana, I went to the local dealer where they had a similar model, pretty much the exact same vehicle on the lot that Carvana had. It was about $2,000 more expensive and had 2,000 miles more than the one that I ended up with from Carvana. And the experience of buying from a dealer is the same no matter what dealer you go to, no matter how many times I've bought a vehicle, no matter what I tell them up front, that I'm not looking for extra packages, extra warranties, things like that. The experience is pretty much the same. They're friendly enough. I've never had a really bad experience with a dealer. I know some people have had bad experiences with a car dealer. But their goal is to upsell. Their goal is to sell add-on packages where they really make their money. Their goal is to sell services and protection plans and rust preventative and all that stuff that really pads their bottom line on that commission sale. So when we couldn't make a deal at the local dealer, they were unwilling to budge on price on a vehicle that had been on their lot for a few weeks. I went home and decided I was going to give Carvana a shot. The process was fairly easy. Once you select the car, they hold the car, they hold it for an hour or 45 minutes or whatever it is while you do the paperwork. And the paperwork was easy. I went online, I did their whole process, I did everything through them, I financed through them. Their recommended insurer is Progressive, which I already have Progressive on my motorcycle. So I filled out the paperwork, I filled out the credit application. I didn't need to upload any verification, employment verification or pay stubs or anything like that. I know some people have, so I think your mileage may vary on that. But it was very easy. It was very straightforward. There was no BS. There was no high-pressure tactics. It was all online. It was all computer. The hardest part of the whole transaction, the whole purchasing transaction, was uploading a picture of my license. It took several tries to get a picture or a copy of my license that their app would accept as legible. And I ended up just taking a picture with the camera on the phone versus scanning it and uploading it. But it was overall very easy. Completed the process. Once you've done the process on purchasing it, the next step is getting it insured and then selecting delivery. So the next morning, I did the initial transaction at like 10 o'clock at night on the computer. The next morning, I set up insurance. They sent me a document online on my email saying what I needed for insurance. I contacted Progressive and said, this is what I've got. There was a little confusion from Progressive as to what documents they needed and what they were getting from Carvana didn't mesh with what they needed for verification. But Progressive contacted Carvana on their own and dealt with that. And that was pretty straightforward. I didn't really have to do anything with that. But that's because Massachusetts is a different breed from the rest of the states when it comes to registering a vehicle. There's different processes, there's different steps. The biggest concern that I had with buying a vehicle online, especially from a company that's based out of another state, I think they're based out of Arizona, is the registration process. Carvana says in all of their literature, including mine, after I purchased the vehicle, that it would come with temporary plates. Now, Massachusetts does not allow temporary plates. They don't allow it at all. Not even out-of-state temporary plates. They don't recognize them. So I was very concerned that the car would arrive with temporary plates that weren't actually legal to be driven on, and I wouldn't be able to drive the car. It wasn't like the end of the world. I knew I would get it resolved eventually, and I was keeping my Subaru Impreza as a second car for me to use with the dogs. And I wasn't trading that in. So I'd still have a vehicle. I'd still have a car registered and insured and on the road. I called Carvana because I couldn't get a clear answer online. And I got someone from their call center, wherever their call center is, Arizona or in some other state, and I got a guy who was very pleasant. He was very, he was upbeat. He understood my concerns, but he couldn't give me an answer. He couldn't tell me for sure what the registration process was going to be. He said that it was going to come with temporary tags, and when I said that Massachusetts doesn't allow temporary tags, he said he didn't quite know, but that they do business in Massachusetts and they must have it figured out. It was a little concerning, considering I just spent over $24,000, $25,000 on a car, and I was unsure if I was going to be able to register it and drive it immediately. Because part of the process of delivering it is they want you to take it on a test drive to make sure it meets your expectations. So I'm getting a little worked up about that. I'm getting a little nervous about that, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just cancel the order and buy the car locally. And then I thought, all right, I'll just wait. I'll wait till it shows up, and I'll see what happens, because I can always refuse delivery. I can always send it back. So the process of delivery, it took about 10 days for the car to get to me, which was longer than expected, but it was coming from another state. It was coming from Florida or Arizona. It was coming from some southern state, and it was being transported to a local distribution hub out in Boston, and then it was going to be delivered from Boston out to Western Massachusetts, where I live. So on the day of delivery, the car was scheduled to be delivered between 2:30 and 3:30 or something like that. I get a call in the morning from the delivery guy, and he wants to know if he can come early. And I say, sure, absolutely. You know, I've just taken the day off of work. I'm waiting for it. And I ask him, I said, so what's the process with the registration? He goes, oh, it's going to come with plates on it. It's going to come ready to go. I said, great, that's awesome. And sure enough, the car showed up when he said he was going to be here. He was within his hour window. Shows up, the car's got its permanent plates on there. It's got the little registration year sticker on the plates. I've got my permanent registration that was emailed to me, and then they mailed me a hard copy overnight. So it came fully ready to go. And I was talking to the delivery guy about where the disconnect was, why their office in Arizona or their call center was unable to verify this information. He said that that was a common issue. Every delivery he's made in Massachusetts so far, that was a common issue, where people were unsure of how it was going to come for registration. But in Massachusetts, you have got to have it permanently registered. There's no temporary tags before delivery, before you can drive it. And that was my feedback to Carvana, was you really should get your people in your call center up to speed on Massachusetts, because that's going to be your undoing in this state. Is you really need to have some more information on how Massachusetts handles registrations, because it is different, and the guy who delivered the car admitted they are different than the rest of the country. And even one of the supervisors from Carvana's call center said, yes, we've dealt with Massachusetts for a couple of years now. We know that they are different. We know that the requirements are a little stricter. There are no temporary tags. And he said he would put that up the line so that it was added to the training program. And so hopefully they do take that advice and they do take that feedback and train their call center employees and change their website information to let people know that when you're buying in Massachusetts, you are going to get that car delivered with the plates on the car, with the permanent registration all ready to go. There's no waiting. There's no temporary tags, which are, again, not legal in Massachusetts. You are going to get that car ready to drive. If you are in Massachusetts and you are considering a car from Carvana, know that you will get that car ready to go. And you will not be waiting for a registration or a temporary tag or anything like that. It will be ready to drive when it rolls off that flatbed truck. But aside from the discrepancies in the information on the registration and delivery process on the car, everything was super smooth. It came when it was supposed to come. There were no delays. There were no issues. The car was exactly as described. I mean, the thing looked brand new. It was exactly as described. Every little scratch, which there are only a couple, was noted online. So I got to see that on the pictures, on the detailed pictures before the car came. So I was really pleased with the condition of the car. I was really pleased with how easy it was to buy a car. I would absolutely buy a car online from Carvana again. And I think that this is the future. I think that, you know, regular local car dealers need to start looking into this. They need to start looking into how to get up to speed. This process was so easy. No one likes going to a car dealer. No one likes going in and sitting down and going over the numbers and they go, oh, let me go talk to the manager. Let me go talk to the finance guy. Let me, you know, then when they come back and go back and forth on price and equipment and all the options that you're negotiating on. No one likes that. And then when you finally agree on something, you have to go into the finance manager's office, sit in front of him, where he tries to pitch you again, you know, your Simonizing and your extended warranty and your rust proofing and God, you gotta have the bike rack and the kayak carrier and all that stuff, you know, and the body side molding and anything like that, any options they can throw at you. Their goal ultimately is to up that price. So no one really enjoys that process. So this was really refreshing to be able to buy a car on my couch, on my iPad, with very little involvement. The total involvement time from ordering to delivery was less than an hour. I mean, it was probably 20 minutes to fill out the paperwork. It was a few minutes to upload a picture of my license. It was a few minutes dealing with Progressive on the phone, and that was it. It was straightforward. Had the call center people or their website been more versed in Massachusetts registration policies, I would have spent even less time than that dealing with it. So overall, yes, if you are looking for a car, looking for a pre-owned car, and you want a decent deal, and you want a no-hassle process, I would really strongly suggest you look at somebody like Carvana or some of the other online car dealers. So that's it for this. Sorry about that, the camera cut off. So that's it for this video. I'll probably make more. That's it. Bye.